Chicago Sky's JEFF Pagliocca, the general manager, is in preliminary talks with former Los Angeles Sparks head coach Curt Miller. Curt Miller was let go from the Los Angeles Sparks after his first year, going 8-32. After Teresa Weatherspoon was fired, now the Chicago Skies is looking for a new head coach, and JEFF Pagliocca has reached out to Curt Miller. But before we get off in today's podcast, tell a friend to tell a friend. Well, the Chicago Skies are in search of a new head coach after letting first-year rookie head coach Teresa Weatherspoon go after she finished a 13-27 season. She was let go after her first-year run, and that had a lot of people, looking at the organization crazy, and also looking at the general manager, JEFF Pagliocca, a little side eye. We talked about it all the time. Teresa Weatherspoon was let go unfairly for any reason that we can think of. We trying to piece it all together. What was the reason that she was let go? But that's either here nor there now, because now Teresa Weatherspoon is without a coaching job, and the Chicago Skies have a vacant head coaching spot open. So now, going into the offseason, we still got the WNBA playoffs going right now with the New York Liberty and Minnesota Lynx. And JEFF Pagliocca is doing his due diligence. He has to go out there and he has to be proactive. He has to, start interviewing people for the potential head coaching job with the Chicago Sky. Now, Curt Miller, the former Los Angeles Sparks head coach, was let go after his first season, posting a record of 8-32. Now, when I say that is I'm looking at the LA Sparks roster, and I thought that the LA Sparks roster was constructed a little better than what the Chicago Skies roster was, but Teresa Weatherspoon still finished 13-27, and she got let go for the reasons we don't know. And then you got Curt Miller. He posted a 8-32 record, and he lost his job. And now JEFF Pagliocca wants to interview him and potentially bring him in as the new head coach of the Chicago Sky. Now, for the people that don't know who Curt Miller is, Curt Miller been around for a minute, man. He's had 4 head coaching jobs. His latest head coaching job, like I said, was with the Los Angeles Sparks. He had a good run when he was with the Connecticut Suns in 2016 to 2022. Also, he was an assistant, coach with the LA Sparks back in 2015. Now, over his career in, basketball and coaching, on the collegiate level, and he was the head coach for Bowling Green. Also, he was the head coach at Indiana University. And also, 2 head coaching jobs in the WNBA. But overall, man, he's been an assistant coach at Colorado State. So he has some, coaching pedigree. He has a respectful background. He's been in basketball and coaching for a minute, like I said, holding down several assistant coaching jobs and, the head coaching job. His best stint was when he was with the Connecticut Suns, got him into the playoffs. He head coached there from 2016 to 2022. And, he has some background, which a lot of people said that, Teresa Weatherspoon didn't have no background. But you got to understand, Teresa Weatherspoon, she was an assistant coach in the NBA with the New Orleans Pelicans. So Teresa Weatherspoon has basketball pedigree herself. She played it at the highest level. She played with the New York Liberty. She was one of them stud point guards, man, that could do it all. She was a playmaker. She was a lockdown defender, and she could do everything. But, JEFF Pagliocca now is thinking about bringing Curt Miller in, the ex-coach from the Los Angeles Sparks. Now, in the offseason, you got to go out there and you got to start talking to folks. There's potential coaches out there that are available that, JEFF, he has to be proactive. He has to go out and reach out to these people and see, would they be interested in taking the job? A lot of people wish that Teresa Weatherspoon was still around, still had that head coaching position. And, because they got 2 great rookies in Angel Reese and Camila Cardoso. They got a nice team they can build around. With the likes of Kennedy Carter, I don't know how this is going to affect Kennedy Carter. This is one of the situations that's tough for Kennedy Carter, bringing in Curt Miller. We already seen, the hiccup between her and Curt Miller in the past. So it's going to be interesting, man. We got to keep an eye on this if he does become the head coach. But Jeff Pagliucci is doing his due diligence, man, and he's out there. So there's an article that was written about, Jeff Pagliucci reaching out to Curt Miller. Let's take a look at it. Sky show interest in former Sparks coach Curt Miller. The Sky are one of 3 WNBA franchises along with the Sparks and Dream with a coaching vacancy, but sources say that number could increase in the coming weeks. So there's some more coaches on the chopping block. So also, it said the Chicago Skies have preliminary discussions with Curt Miller concerning the head coaching vacancy, source told Ann Constable of the Chicago Sun-Times. Miller and the Los Angeles Sparks mutually parted ways last month after 2 seasons. The 56-year-old went a disappointing 25-55 during his tenure, including the league's worst 8-32 this past campaign. The 2-time WNBA Coach of the Year spent the previous 7 seasons with the Connecticut Suns, posting a 140-86 record. He guided the club to a pair of final appearances, but the effort fell short on both occasions. Chicago is searching for his 4th head coach in 3 seasons after moving on from Teresa Weatherspoon following the 2024 campaign. The Sky include its young core, boasting likes of Angel Reese and Camila Cardoso, went 13-27 during the lone season in charge, missing the playoffs by 2 games. And I just want to correct myself. Curt Miller, he was the Los Angeles Sparks coach for 2 years, and he had a dismal record. Now, you thinking about bringing somebody in like that, for 2 years couldn't get the Sparks to where they needed to be. And you look at the roster they had, I understand that Cameron Brink went down, one of their talented rookies that came in outside of Rakia Jackson. But you look at the LA Sparks roster, I thought they was constructed pretty good. And they had a team that they can compete with. But they came up short, 8-32. And you look at the tenure he had in LA. Now, Jeff Pagliucci is thinking about bringing him in as the Chicago Skies coach. I mean, what kind of difference is that going to make? Is that going to put the organization over the hump? Is that going to give them the jolt that they need to get these players to buy in? Because we've also heard Jeff Pagliucci talk about Dana Evans. That's the type of player that we need, somebody that's going to buy into the system, somebody that can play on both sides of the floor. They can play offense and they can play defense. She can pass the ball. Regardless of when, Jeff Pagliucci made that clip of Dana Evans, I mean, it's out there. Regardless of how long ago it was, he thinks highly of Dana Evans. So Dana Evans is probably one of the players that will return for the Chicago Sky. I don't think Jeff Pagliucci is going to let her go, going to let her walk. And if they do let her walk, I mean, you have to package her up in a deal to get, to trade her off to get some players to come in. But we got to see how this coaching search goes. I mean, you just can't, interview one candidate and hire them right on the spot. There's other coaches out there that you can interview that have potential, star power to, turn this franchise around. And you just got to do your due diligence. But it's going to be a long off season. It's a lot of things that they got to, fix in that organization. They got to make sure that Angel Reese is happy. They got to make sure that they're reaching out to her, communicating with her. You got to make sure that relationship is strong. Jeff, you got to get on the horn. I don't know what kind of conversations you and Angel have had, since the firing of Teresa Weatherspoons, but you got to make one of your star players happy. You got to assure her that, everything's going to be all right and that, that she can trust you and the organization to make the right moves and get the players in that they need to compete at a high level and to get them in the playoff and make Chicago Skies basketball exciting again. We had an exciting run early in the season. Angel Reese got hurt. She went down and, things just dwindled down for us. But at the same time, I just think that, there's other coaches out here that Jeff Pagliucci could be talking to. Just don't put all your eggs in one basket. Go out there and do your research. So you guys let me know what y'all think about today's podcast on the potential of Curt Miller becoming the new coach of the Chicago Skies. Like I said, if you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you got your post notifications on so you know every time Simply Ball drops another hot banger. And also, man, tell a friend to tell a friend. It might not be for you, but it might be for them. And also, before you leave and you put your shoes on, do me a favor. Give this video a thumbs up. I see everybody in the comment section. #salute. And we're going to catch you on the next one. Deuces.
Thanks for listening to the Simply Ball Dropping podcast. Be sure to subscribe, like, and share on all major platforms.
That's all, folks.